Chachara tirthani bhuvas Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Shata Bhagavatottamaha
Shata Bhagavatottamaha
Chachara Tirthani Bhuvas
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Chaktva Bandhun Sadushyajan
Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Yad aha no bhavan sutta
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Kshatha bhagavatottamaha
Kshata Bhagavatottamaha
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Tattva bahun sudustyajan
Tattva bandhun sadushyajan. Shaunaka Uvacha Yad ahano bhavan sutta Kshata bhagavatottamaha Chachara tirthani bhuvas Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha Yad ahano bhavan sutta Kshatta bhagavatottamaha Chachara tirthani bhuvas Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha Yad ahano bhavan sutta Kshata bhagavatottamaha Chachara tirthani bhuvas Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha
Uvacha
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Shata Bhagavatottamaha
Kshata Bhagavatottamaha
Chachara Tatani Bhuvas
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Tattva Bundan Sandastijan.
Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha Yadahano bhavan sutta
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Shatta bhagavatottama
Shraddha Bhagavatottamaha
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Tyaktva bandhun sudustyajan
Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan.
Shaunaka Uvacha
Shaunaka Uvacha
Yadaha no Bhavan Sutta
Yad aha no Bhavan Sutta
Shata Bhagavatottamaha
Kshata Bhagavatottamaha
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Chachara tirthani bhuvas
Taktva bandhun sudustyajan.
Tyaktva bandhun sadushyajan. Shaunaka Uvacha Sri Shaunaka Muni said, Yat as aha, you said, na, unto us, Bhavan, your good self, Sutta, O Sutta, Kshata, Vidura, Bhagavata Uttama, one of the topmost devotees of the Lord, Chachara, practiced, Tirthani, places of pilgrimage, Bhuva, on the earth, Tyaktva, leaving aside, Bandhun, all relatives. Sudushjan, very difficult to give up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shanaka Rishi, after hearing all about the creation, inquired from Sutta Goswami about Vidura. For Sutta Goswami had previously informed him how Vidura left home, leaving aside all his relatives, who were very difficult to leave. Purport. The rishis, headed by Shanaka, were more anxious to know about Vidura, who met Maitreya Rishi while traveling to the pilgrimage sites of the world. Maharaj, would you like to make some comments on this verse and purport?
Naimisharanya is the place where they're holding these discussions, and it's famous as being a very auspicious place to hold such talks. And they had been going on for a long time, and as a matter of fact, Garga Samhita has also spoken there. Great sages would come, and when they would come there, as they often do to holy places, the sages there and the devotees were so eager to hear from some visiting, traveling, saintly person, and they would request them very earnestly to please speak about their realizations about the transcendental knowledge. And they never grew tired of hearing. And they went on, and in the association of these rishis, and among the rishis, Shaunaka was kind of the leader, a very respectable person. So he would ask questions on behalf of the rishis, questions that would be interesting for them to hear. And they were interested in everything that had to do with Krishna. And Krishna means Krishna, his name, his fame, his pastimes, his paraphernalia, his devotees, everything that has to do with him. Like the battlefield of Kurukshetra. One could hear about the battle of Kurukshetra, and that would be completely transcendental because Krishna was there. That's what made it so special. As long as Krishna is somewhere in the plan or in the story or in the discussion, it becomes transcendental. Because Krishna himself is like the sun. So wherever the sun is, there'll be light, there won't be any darkness. And so they would take pleasure in speaking all these topics. And Sutta Goswami was the son of Ramaharshan Sutta. Ramaharshan Sutta was formerly, he was the main speaker. But he was not born in a Brahmana family, but still he was chosen because of his qualifications, very learned. And so he was speaking, but then one incident took place where he failed to show proper respects to Lord Balaram, and because of that he was replaced. He was not allowed to continue with his discussion, because one who's speaking has to set an example for the others, other persons. So it is important. The speaker has the duty of not only presenting the philosophy or the pastimes or what have you correctly, but he has to also behave according to them and be well versed in the practices of the Vaishnava. So that's what's happening now. Then, I didn't say that. When Romaharshan Sutta was to be replaced, he was taken off the position. Then it was decided by Balaram that he suggested, he arranged, that the son of Romaharshan Sutta would have the blessings that his father had, namely that he would be able to live a long life and go on speaking. So that was passed on to the son, Sutta Goswami. And so now he's taken over speaking, and all the things that his father was presenting in his proper way he was presenting. So these are the sages at Naimishranya. Naimishranya is a real place. One can go there and see the forest. And anyone who goes to such a place will be very much impressed by the transcendental atmosphere that's created. Wherever the pastimes of the Lord are discussed in the association of devotees, then it will be transcendental. Whereas even if non-devotees try to discuss about Krishna, the advanced devotees are not interested in hearing. Sanatana Goswami said that if one hears topics about Krishna, one may think they're very beautiful to hear and they're very transcendentally pleasing, so one should hear them from anyone who's speaking. But Sanatana Goswami says no. He says, if you hear from a person who's not a devotee, then there'll be contamination. Because a non-devotee cannot speak about Krishna. He doesn't understand Krishna. So if he tries to speak about Krishna, it'll be well, it's like, for example, if you asked someone who didn't know anything about brain surgery to give a seminar on brain surgery, and you invite all the top brain surgeons in the world to come there and hear, it would be a ludicrous affair. They say, well, this person doesn't know anything. So similarly, if a non-devotee tries to speak about Krishna, what will he be able to say? He doesn't know. Therefore, it's very important that the speaker, and Sanatana Goswami used the analogy that milk touched by the lips of a serpent, when you drink it, it has poison in it. And so the hearers get poisoned. So therefore, it's important to hear from devotees, and in that assembly, the topics are very pleasing to everyone, or to at least those who are interested, who are qualified to hear about Krishna. That not only, it's not that it only can take place in Naimishranya or a holy place, but any place that such discussions take place becomes a holy place, even if it's in Kansas City, or even if it's in Mexico or China or wherever it may be, wherever that discussion takes place according to the proper principles, it becomes a holy place.
Jai, thank you, Maharaj. So, these sages are inquiring from Sutta Goswami about Vidura, how he left home. Does anybody remember when he mentioned this? Yeah, in the 13th chapter of the first canto, which is entitled Dhritarashtra Quits Home. Because Vidura, he was on pilgrimage, touring the holy places, and I actually pulled up a verse that's very nice. When he returned, Yudhishthir Maharaj, he greeted him. He said, Bhavad Vidha Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Svantas Dena Gadabrita. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. So just like Maharaj is saying that wherever this Krishna Katha is going on by the devotees who are, in accordance with the Guru Parampara, with the scriptures, then that place becomes a place of pilgrimage. It becomes a holy place. And Vidura was such a great personality, which is very interesting because Vidura, he was born of a Shudra, he was born of a lesser class, where the rest of his family is Kshatriyas, they're much very high class. And that's a whole story, which I won't get into. Otherwise we'll unpack the whole Mahabharata and we'll be here talking forever. But anyways, on this point of him being a Shudra, I found something that was really nice. It's a purport by Srila Prabhupada. Well, I guess first I'll give the backstory. Where Vidura, he was actually an incarnation of Yamaraj. So Yamaraj got cursed by Manduka Muni. This Manduka Muni, he was a great Brahmana. He was doing austerities. He was doing, his bhajan. And what he was choosing to do was, he was standing outside of his ashram. He was standing with his arms raised, and he was doing some worship. And some king was going by, and they were recruiting people. And long story short, he got recruited and roped into this, and he didn't participate. And he was going to be killed, and he was going to be stabbed, I believe, in the stomach with like a trident or something. And when he was getting ready to be killed, he was frustrated, and he was, calling out to Yamaraj, like, why is this happening to me? This isn't just. This doesn't make sense. I'm a pious Brahmana. I've never done wrong. I've never done any sins. And then it was revealed that when he was a kid, he took a blade of grass and he pierced, what was it? Like a bug. I forget exactly what it was, but he took this thing and he like pierced this animal, this bug. And he was a kid. And he became frustrated with Yamaraj. He said, that's not fair. I was a kid. The karma shouldn't count. But it did count. And then Yamaraj got cursed by him to take birth as a Shudra for 100 years. So Vidura is seemingly, a Shudra, but he's actually a Mahajan because he's Yamaraj incarnated. And this is the point that Prabhupada makes in this purport that I'll read from. Vidura, born in the womb of a Shudra woman, was forbidden even to be a party of... I guess I'll pull this up here, it won't take so long. Vidura, born in the womb of a Shudra woman, was forbidden even to be a party of royal heritage along with his brothers Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Then how could he occupy the post of a preacher to instruct such learned kings and kshatriyas as Dhritarashtra and Maharaj Yudhishthir? The first answer is that even though it is accepted that he was a Shudra by birth, because he renounced the world for spiritual enlightenment by the authority of Rishi Maitreya and was thoroughly educated by him in transcendental knowledge, he was quite competent to occupy the post of an acharya, or spiritual preceptor. According to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, anyone who is conversant in the transcendental knowledge or the science of Godhead, be he a Brahmana or a Shudra, a householder or a sannyasi, is eligible to become a spiritual master. Even in the ordinary moral codes maintained by Chanakya Pandit, the great politician and moralist, there is no harm in taking lessons from a person who may be birth less than a Shudra. This is one part of the answer. The other is that Vidura was not actually a Shudra. He was to play the part of a so-called Shudra for 100 years, being cursed by Manduka Muni. He was the incarnation of Yamaraj, one of the 12 Mahajanas, on the level with such exalted personalities as Brahma, Narada, Shiva, Kapila, Bhishma, Prahlad, etc. Being a Mahajan, it is the duty of Yamaraj to preach the cult of the devotion to the people of the world, as Narada, Brahma, and other Mahajans do. But Yamaraj is always busy in his Plutonic kingdom punishing the doers of sinful acts. Yamaraj is deputed by the Lord to a particular planet some hundreds of thousands of miles away from the planet Earth to take away the corrupt souls after death and convict them in accordance with their respective sinful activities. Thus Yamaraj has very little time to take leave from his responsible office of punishing the wrongdoers. There are more wrongdoers than righteous men. Therefore Yamaraj has to do more work than other demigods, who are also authorized agents of the Supreme Lord. But he wanted to preach the glories of the Lord, and therefore by the will of the Lord he was cursed by Manduka Muni to come into the world in the incarnation of Vidura and work very hard as a great devotee. Such a great devotee is neither a Shudra nor a Brahmana. He is transcendental to such divisions of mundane society, just as the personality of Godhead assumes his incarnation as a hog, but he is neither a hog nor Brahma. So, I thought this was very nice because Vidura is traveling, he's preaching, and when he comes back home, he was off on pilgrimage for so many years. And we could think now somebody may visit India and they go on pilgrimage and they're posting pictures on WhatsApp, they're on Facebook, it's very easy to communicate with them. But Vidura, he left home and without going into the whole story, it wasn't like a favorable leaving. He was more or less kicked out of the kingdom due to discrepancies because Vidura, he was very favorable towards the Pandavas, the family of Arjuna, who later fought the Kurus, the other side. And Vidura left, so nobody knew where he was, and nobody knew what happened to him. He just up and left, and he's traveling the holy places. And then one day, he knocks on the door, he comes back home. And everybody in the house was excited to see him. Majority of the people that he was there with died because of the battle of Kurukshetra, and now Maharaj Yudhishthir took over. So Vidura came there and he saw his brother Dhritarashtra, who Dhritarashtra was, the evil king who was blind, not just spiritually, not materially blind, but spiritually blind as well. So he made all sorts of bad decisions, and he let himself become swayed by his son Duryodhana to do all sorts of evil deeds, and they tried to kill the Pandavas in many different ways, but Vidura helped them. And when Vidura came back, he chastised Dhritarashtra, saying, what are you doing? And there's one verse that's very famous. It says, alas, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life. Verily, you are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by Bhima. So why is this significant that he says Bhima? He would eat a lot, that's there. But specifically, Dhritarashtra, they tried to poison Bhima. They fed him poisonous cakes, poisonous food, but like Prabhu mentioned, because he could eat a lot, he ate a lot and he wasn't bothered by it. But the point that Vidura is saying is, you tried to kill them and steal their kingdom from them, and you lost, and now you're just living there at their house like a pet dog. Imagine you have a house and you're working hard to pay your bills and whatever, and there's your brother who's just like a bum laying on the couch, and he's just like laying there, and you're just thinking, like, go get a job, go do something with your life, get up, do anything. So this is more of a tamagun way of looking at it for our present day in society. But these were kshatriyas, they were very noble warriors and rulers, kings. So to take such a position is very bad. So he basically called him a dog, that he's living at the hand of the person that he tried to kill. This is a very, very, very big insult. And then Vidura, he said a few other things to him and preached to him the importance of what life is all about. And then Dhritarashtra, who was actually the evil king, we hear in the Bhagavad Gita, he got up and left towards the Himalayas to engage in meditation and worship of God and focus his life on attaining self-realization rather than just living around like a dog. The first part, what did Vidura say? He said, how powerful are the hopes of a living being to continue his life? So we could see this. This is the principle of existence, of self-preservation. No matter what, we're trying to take care of ourselves so we can live, so we can keep going. But thankfully, we get to hear from the Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear so many kings who were controlling not just a vast kingdom, but the whole world. And they would retire. They would retire and save a portion of their life when they were still able and coherent so they could focus on spiritual realization, on devoting themselves to understanding God. There's a chapter in that first canto of the Bhagavatam, I think it's right after that chapter, maybe 14. It says, the Pandavas retire timely. So we hear in the Bhagavad Gita about this war that's taking place, which is actually in the Mahabharata, and there's so much politics, so much drama, so much fighting, so much arguing over, what is right, who's right, what's wrong, how to attain righteousness and how to, restore the rightful king, Maharaj Yudhishthir. But then after all that, he gives it all up, just like that. And then as he gives it up, all of his brothers also give it up, and they take to the path of worshiping the Lord. And, they realize that the point of life is not to rule some kingdom, not to get wealth, not to get fame, but to actually devote oneself to God. And we could see nowadays, in Kali Yuga, it's quite the opposite. People get a position of power and they try to hold on and hold on and hold on for so long. I mean, look at most of the politicians that we have in, like the Congress and the mayors, governors. They're all very old. So age has its benefits, because with age comes wisdom, generally speaking. But what kind of wisdom is there if we're trying to hold on to a platform and manipulate the material energy in such a way where nobody will ever be happy because you're not able to see anything beyond the bodily platform? So whatever these politicians are doing, it's all based off of some kind of mental, speculative idea of what they think will make people happy, and that idea of what will make people happy is based off the bodily platform. So Vidura, he was in a position, giving advice to his brother for the kingdom. Even though he was a Shudra, he was very wise, he was very pious. And he was just kicked out, just like that. But did he lament? No, he just left and he went to all the holy places. He said, okay, I'm going to take advantage of this situation and connect to God. So similarly, we may have many things in our life that affect us in different ways. We may have had some kind of trauma that happened in our life. We feel anxiety or depression. Different ways we feel unstable. So many things could happen. But we can use this as an impetus to actually turn towards God, and it could be fuel to help us connect to Krishna. And as we connect to Krishna, this is the only way that we can become happy. The reason why everybody is suffering in this material world is we think we can enjoy something we can't actually enjoy. And the example is given that this material world is like a reflection of the spiritual world. perverted reflection. So it's like, you hang up, it's almost time for prasadam, right? Haribol! And so that everybody goes to sleep after the Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But then as soon as you chant Mahaprasade Govind, everybody wakes up. So imagine that prasadam, but you see it in a mirror. You can see it and you get an idea of what it's like, but you can't actually feel it, you can't, taste, you can't put it, you can't derive the nourishment from it. So similarly, this is what the material world's like. It's a shadow that there's faint happiness that comes and goes, emotions, feelings, but it's always distorted and it's not satisfactory because it's temporary. And Krishna, he says in the Bhagavad Gita that the wise person does not try to enjoy the source of the sense. He does not try to enjoy the sense objects because there's always a beginning and an end. Adyantavantakanteya. It's always a beginning and an end. So here, we're trying to rise above that. But we have a material conditioning. And our material conditioning is largely driven by the lower modes of material nature, the mode of passion and mode of ignorance. And Krishna, he says the mode of passion is born of longing desires, desiring this, desiring that, desiring this. So we may come to devotional service and we have some kind of blessing, some kind of mercy, some kind of realization. But as we've come to devotional service and are, especially living at the temple, at first it's all brand new, it's all exciting, all, like, what is this? Coming here at the morning, we're singing these songs, I don't even know what it means. We're going out and chanting Hare Krishna and meeting people. So, even if you don't really particularly like it so much, it's exciting. There's a lot going on, it's all new. But the point that I'm trying to make is that over time, it stops becoming new. So then, very easily, this conditioned nature of ours could flare up of, oh yeah, I tried this for a while, it was okay, but now I want to try that thing. Now I want to try that thing. Now I want to try this. This is what we've been doing for lifetimes and lifetimes. Trying this relationship, trying this hobby, trying this, way of life, trying to be in a male's body, in a female's body, in the body of a whale, of a deer. Just going from one body to the next body and trying to do different activities thinking will bring us happiness. So as we become more accustomed with this process of devotional service as Prabhupada has given us, we always have to go deeper. We always have to go deeper. Deeper in our understanding, deeper in our concentration, deeper in our meditation, deeper in our worship, deeper in our standards of cleanliness and how we carry ourselves. There's always a scope for us to go deeper. But if we just hang around on the surface, what's it? It's like, in the ocean. If you're on the surface of the ocean, and what happens when a big hurricane comes? Everything's tossed around, So if we're just on the surface, then as soon as things get tough, we feel the turbulence like anything. It's just kicking us like crazy. But if you go deep into the ocean, that same hurricane comes, you don't even know that it happened because you're too absorbed in what you're doing. Everybody has experience where they've lost track of time. You could get so absorbed in whether, it's painting or some kind of art, you're writing, doing some study, hanging out with friends. You're so absorbed that you just don't even care about eating, sleeping, time. But then, eventually those things catch up with us. That's the kind of absorption that we need in devotional service. So wherever we can get it, we have to try for it. And Krishna consciousness is not cheap. It's not a cheap thing. Like I said, we're fortunate that we've come in contact with Krishna consciousness, with the devotees somehow. And Krishna, he showers so much blessing, so much mercy, as everything's new. But like any relationship that you have, you know, I meet somebody brand new. Oh, hey, how are you? Where are you from? Oh, that's nice. What kind of interest do you like? Everything's brand new and exciting. But then after I learn all these things about that person, do I, kick them to the side and go find a new person, or do we actually deepen the relationship? So similarly, Krishna consciousness is not cheap. We have to deepen our relationship with Krishna. So that's time. Maybe somebody has some questions or comments. I wanted to talk about Narottam Das Thakur on behalf of his appearance day yesterday, but it's not the direction things went. Maybe later. All right, anybody have anything? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gauranatai ki jai, Vanshakapatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha, Patitanam pavani vaishnavebhyo